I am Nicole Jackson, the chair of the District Heights Sustainability Committee, and tonight we have joining us Leslie Gray, who is the Government Relations Officer with the Maryland Department of Environment. While this was Leslie's first legislative season with the department, she brings valuable experience from her previous work in the Maryland legislature. A native Marylander, Leslie is passionate about protecting the state's air, water, and land. In her role, she works with to support laws and policies that help keep Maryland's environment clean and healthy. She enjoys connecting with communities and helping make a positive difference across the state. Without further ado, we will welcome Leslie.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. And just to recap where we had left off, let me just move this out of the way. I was just talking about an overview of Maryland's General Assembly, 141 members in the House of Delegates, 47 members in the Senate, different standing committees that meet almost daily and hear every single bill that is introduced during the legislative session. Some bills may be discussed further during subcommittees where stakeholders are invited and able to engage with legislators. And legislators are also able to ask questions to dive a little bit deeper to better understand the legislation that they are considering. This year, so session runs 90 days and starts on the second Wednesday of every January. And the last day of session is called Sine Die, and that means without a day. And that's the day that all bills have to pass, otherwise they're considered dead. And if a bill is dead, it just means that it has to wait until the next legislative session to be introduced again and go through the same process that it had just gone through in the session. I believe this year, a little bit less than this number was considered. I believe it was closer to 2,300 pieces of legislation. But either way, it's still a lot for both the Senate and the House to consider. Again, they're listening to every single bill that is introduced, and every single bill is allowed to have stakeholder and public participation as well. Okay, and so getting into the nitty-gritty of this session, as you may know, Maryland was facing a little bit of a budget crisis. We were facing a $1 billion budget deficit in fiscal year 2025. And here are some numbers for the future. But one of Maryland's priorities is during the legislative session is to balance the budget. That is the only constitutional requirement for the state. All of the other legislation is kind of a bonus, but they do have to pass the budget. This year it started in the House, and so next year it will start in the Senate. Some other things that the legislature was considering this year was the results of the federal election last year. And so with Maryland being such a close state to DC, of course, we have many federal employers who live in our state who have been impacted. There's been programs that have lost federal funding. One bonus that I can say for MDE, we fortunately have two new members, our new deputy secretary and our land and materials administration director are both from the EPA, and we're really thankful to have them, Adam Ortiz and Rick Kessler. They have been true gems throughout this entire session, and we're really thankful to have them. But it does go to show that, you know, folks are figuring out what to do next with the results of the federal election. And so one big topic this year was energy bills, and a lot of different energy bills came through. And I'll go through a couple of them. Most of the bills that I'm going to go through are the bills that did pass. However, if you have any questions about other bills that were being considered this session, I would be happy to connect with you offline. So here we'll go into the EJ bills and general environmental bills. And so MDE's top priority this year was Senate Bill 250, which was the Department of Environment Fees, Penalties, and Funding Regulation. This bill increased fees and penalties related to environmental regulation, air pollution, oil contaminant, dam repair, and et cetera. And so this basically, last year, this bill passed the House, but it didn't make it through the Senate. This year, it did fully pass, and that's really exciting because that means that MDE now has the resources that we need to fund some of these programs that we have deemed as essential. Next, we have House Bill 128, Senate Bill 149, Climate Change Adaptation and Mitigation, Total Assessed Costs of Greenhouse Gas Emissions Study and Reports. And this bill requires a study on the total economic cost of greenhouse gas emissions in Maryland. House Bill 1253, Maryland Department of Social Equity establishes the Maryland Department of Social and Economic Mobility, which will support social equity policies. Senate Bill 266, House Bill 286, Local Comprehensive Planning and State Economic Growth, Resource Protection and Planning Policies, Planning Principles. This bill streamlines comprehensive planning categories. This bill streamlines comprehensive planning categories for municipalities and counties to focus on 8 key areas like land, equity, economy, the few that are listed here. House Bill 425, Outdoor Lighting Guidance and Use of State Funds. This bill sets standards for outdoor lighting using state funds, including limits on light temperature, and mandates guidance for updates and for MDOT to review. House Bill 628, Sidewalks and Bike Pathways, Construction and Reconstruction. This bill directs funding and prioritization for sidewalk and bike path projects, especially near roads with Vision Zero or Complete Streets policies. House Bill 506, the Chesapeake Bay Legacy Act, expands environmental and agricultural programs which are tied to water quality, farming, agriculture, and watershed restoration. Senate Bill 901, Environment, Packaging, and Paper Products Producer Responsibility Plans, creates a framework for producer responsibility in managing packaging and paper waste with plan submissions starting in 2028. And this is based off of the department's needs assessment. Senate Bill 117, Environment Bay Restoration Fund Septic System Upgrade Program. This bill revises eligibility and prioritization rule for septic system upgrades under the Bay Restoration Fund. House Bill 1367, Lead Testing and Inspections, Falsifying Information Penalty. This bill introduces a civil penalty of up to $50,000 for falsifying lead tests or inspection results submitted to MDE. Senate Bill 425, Environment, Coal Combustion Byproducts, Fees, Coordinating Committees and Regulations, adjust coal byproduct fees or CCBs based on disposal in Maryland, and establishes a coordinating committee for oversight and reporting. Oops. And lastly, we have Senate Bill 856, Mold Landlord Requirements and Regulation, Maryland Tenant Mold Protection Act. And this bill requires the development of mold remediation standards and resources and mandates landlord responsibility for mold assessments and remediations. So one bill that did not make this list because unfortunately it did not pass is House Bill or Senate House Bill 1484, the Cherish Act. And I know that that was one that was really important for the environmental justice communities. And so I just wanted to provide a brief comment on that one that we, MDE, worked extensively with the EJ community on this bill during this session. Unfortunately, before crossover, we were not able to come to um, the bill that would be the most ideal for all parties. And so we are hoping that during the interim, we will continue to work with the community to come up with a bill that can make it across the finish line next year. And so, if there are any bills that you might have been monitoring or that you were curious about, the Maryland General Assembly website is a really great resource. It is up to date. You are able to search via keyword or via bill number or by bill sponsor or looking through the entire list of the schedules of all of the committees. And you can type in keywords and bill numbers in the search tab to see if there's anything that you were interested to see if it had passed. Something else that's really great about the website is you can see the history. So you can see the votes, the vote count, you can see the witness list, and you can also see the bill hearing if it was something that was not available to you at the time. If you have any questions, I am happy to hang on for a little bit for Q&A. And if I can't answer your questions this evening, then you can reach me at leslie.gray@maryland.gov, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you have about this legislative session. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Leslie. I will kick it off and get started with I was interested in some of the details in terms of what transpired in terms of the Cherish bill not being able to get forward. I understand that a lot of work went into that, and then um, I know that there's some things on MDE side that we wanted to make sure that were clear and the language was clear in order for MDE to fully support it. So if I remember correctly, like during some of the testimony, MDE didn't come out and oppose to the bill, but you guys wanted some different amendments. So what are some of the things that you think would need be necessary to get this bill passed next year?
Sure. And I think the biggest thing that we would need is more time. Unfortunately, we weren't invited to the conversation until after session had already begun. And so to work through some of the nitty gritty details within 90 days was a little bit of a challenge. We worked as hard as we could. You know, our team stayed after the bill hearing and met with the community and, discussed how to get a workable bill back to the legislator, to the sponsor, within like, a 24 or 48-hour period. However, it just wasn't enough time. And so there were a few things that were discussed during that time. I don't remember all of them, but I do know that there were some concerns with the air permits. And I think that that's one that just has to be a broader conversation that we just need more time to really dig into. I think that there were a lot of concerns that MDE had that we were able to compromise with the community on this year. And I think that progress is really great, and to be able to have those conversations. But I think that we just need a little bit more time to provide a bill that MDE can explicitly come out and say, we, support this bill.
Yeah, thank you for that. I'm going to defer. I see a couple people on here that may have some questions about some of the bills that you mentioned. If you have a question, excuse me, for Leslie, um, I know everyone here, so please feel free to come off mute, introduce yourself, and ask Leslie your question. All right, so no one has any questions for Leslie. Well, if we don't have any more
Oh,
questions,
it does look like there was one question submitted in the chat.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
I think it's coming up. Oh, it's a direct message. I think somebody is typing right now a question.
Okay.
Um, Jordana, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. I would love to go into further detail about the sidewalk construction bill. That was not one that I was monitoring closely during the legislative session, so I would have to check back in with my team. But if you can send me your contact information, then I would be happy to reach back out to you sometime early next week with a response.
All right. Jordana, I saw that you came off of mute. Do you have any additional questions for follow-up for Leslie?
She was saying that she is in her office and she can't come off mute, but she just sent me her email address, so I'll be able to contact her that way.
Okay,
Thank you.
got it. And I know it is 7:36. We had a bit of a bit of a hiccup um, with getting started. Nick, I know that you're generally well versed in all of the legislative ins and outs here. So did you have any questions or wanted to follow up with Leslie in any regard before we give her her time back? All right. So if no one has any additional questions for Leslie, I'm going to say thank you very much, Leslie. Are you going to be able to share the slides with all of us or share them with me and I can share them out with everyone? That would be
Yes, I can
greatly
send you the
appreciated.
slides and then if you'd like to distribute them, that would be acceptable.
Yes, thank you so much. But that is all that we have for the evening. I want to say thank you to everyone who came out to listen to the updates with us, and hopefully you can join us next month for on the third Thursday of each month for our next Sustainability Committee meeting. All right.
Thank you for your time, everyone. Good night.
Good night.